Welcome to a show unfiltered, unscripted, a show that's not immune to the facts. Your host, Mike Gardner. Hey guys, welcome to another edition to the Kitchen Angle podcast. I'm your host, Mike. On to today's show. Today's going to be an interesting one as we're approaching episode 21. I've been telling people from the get-go the show is growing into proportions. It really is. Never thought it would come to this, but we reached episode 21, episode 21, season 1. So for all my loyal listeners out there and supporters and followers and everything on Facebook and social media, thank you very much. My hat's off to you. And thank you for putting up with me on the show. I know I can be a little bit of much, but hey, that's what the show is about, right? But on to other things here. I want to talk about a lot of different things. I want to talk about how the radical left wants to basically erase whites from history in this country. They just want to basically just erase white history. And the reason why I say that is because they show that white promotes white supremacy. What is white supremacy? White supremacy. What is white supremacy? I touched on it a little bit on episode 20. Anybody caught that? What are we fighting for in this country and why? It was a good episode. For those who didn't listen to that episode, you can listen to it on all different types of podcast platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, and just about everything that's out there, including my Facebook page, The Kitchen Angle. So I want to talk about how the radical left wants to erase white history. I also want to talk about, believe it or not, if anybody noticed, we have a new country out there. Yes, I know we have 195 countries in this world, but we sort of have another country that's added to the nations of the worldwide platform, and that would make 196. You're gonna scratch your heads on this one because I mean I even scratched my head on this one. I mean 196 countries. This country is probably the smallest country in the world. Okay, and it's right here in your backyard here in the United States, and it consists of a 6-block radius in Seattle, Washington. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to get into the radical left. Radical left. What they want to erase white history. They find it racist. They find it to be a nuisance here in the new America, so to speak. With that being said, we're going to touch base on other topics on the show. But first and foremost, we're going to take a quick break.
From what I understand, the police deoccupied this station. They had been defending it for about a week, a little more than that. But yeah, they have, from what I understand, vacated the station, and people are out in the streets in front of it, continuing to protest.
People want to turn the police station into a community center, which I'm so here for.
Now that they're gone, we're just going to show them this is all we wanted. We just wanted had a good time, and that's all it is now.
Here's the thing. In reality, if somebody pulled out a gun and shot somebody else, they'd call 911 and the cops would come and arrest them. So is it really a completely separate government? No, it's really not. But if the cops are going to withdraw, it's a power vacuum. People are going to say, okay, we'll run things then.
There's no looting. There's no violence here. This is really a peaceful zone. So really these 3 blocks kind of in every direction from where I'm standing, there are barricades. There are people keeping watch and making sure everyone is safe.
My name is Keith Brown. I'm an electrician, but as of right now, I'm a guard because I had to quit my job so that I could do this right now.
Guard?
As of right now, I'm needed at the gate. I'm needed to guard the gate. All of us feel safer if we have an arm.
Army?
On all of our weak points.
It's a free zone. People are out here using sidewalk chalk, lighting candles as a memorial. It's really a special place, and there's people want to do good here. Nobody wants to hurt anybody else.
I decided to start bringing food out because I was protesting and I got hungry, and I figured that I wasn't the only one who was hungry. So yeah, it's been all donated. I've had like close to $2,000 donated. It's just kind of become a coordinated effort.
You can see that people are taking care of each other, taking care of their city. They're cleaning up. They're holding, peaceful gatherings of people, in the community who are coming together. I think we could be an example for others in the United States.
We're here. It's a celebratory vibe. It's a growing and an ever-evolving and changing organism that we're trying to do right this time. I don't think it'll ever end. I think that this
Turn
is
this off.
the
Turn
new
this
wave.
off. I had enough. All right, what you just heard was a sound clip plugged into the show here. Everybody's making a joke about it, and is it a separate entity here for a government? No, it's not a separate government, but it could be looked at as a country if you want to look at it as that. This is the supporters here that are enabling this, that are actually for it, are calling this this country here, this section of Seattle, Chaz, short for Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. This is an exclusive look of what you just heard inside Seattle's No Cop Out, set up by anti-racism protesters after days of clashing with police in Washington's capital. Okay, that's Washington State, believe it or not. Shows how people are holding up beyond the barricades as gate guards to keep watch. So they have these protesters that so-called volunteered to be their gate guards of their country, Chaz. Oh boy. This is coming from a precinct here. From what I understand, the police deoccupied this station in the deserted East Precinct, and it has been painted over to say Seattle People Department. And these blocked off streets, people were handing out free food. They were playing music and holding little Virgils. There's no looting. There's no violence here. This is a really peaceful zone, folks. I don't know what else to say. I hope we don't see other little blocks of cities here that are turned into little mini countries from protesters, which I heard a Seattle police department basically abandoning their district and just moving out. I never heard anything like that. I never heard of anything like that. This country is going into a third world nation. It really is. It's sickening. It really is. It's sickening beyond my belief. It's terrible. It really is. It's terrible stuff. Terrible.
We cannot leave right now. We did not win. We need to stay out here. We need to spread it on our social media to get out here.
growth in crime, whatever you need to do. We need to be out here. This is a war, not a battle. This is going to take a while. So what they did is they let up the barricades, and what did that do? That made it so that we are immediately not as concentrated. Since we were all concentrated on this line, spread it to all of our friends, family, social media, and let them know, come out strong tomorrow. Do not let any kind of negative energy, any kind of fight happen, anything like that. This is very imperative that we all stay unified right now. You guys hear me? This is war. It's always been war. We just didn't realize it sometimes. People spread the word, keep coming out here.
Yeah. I think we had enough of this crap. I had enough of this crap. This is 6 blocks of Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood is now known as Chaz. After the police abandoned, like I said, the East Precinct on 12th and Pine, Black Lives Matter's organizers were able to reinforce police barricades to keep the cops out and establish a basic zone, an autonomous zone, where there were rows of riot police and National Guard just a few days ago. There are now free cafes, grocery kiosks, art projects, films, and activism going on in this zone. And Seattle thanks you, Black Lives Matter. Oh yeah. Thank the Black Lives Matter for creating this little 3-block radius of somewhat of a country being set up here in the United States. I mean, seriously, is this what we're after? Is this the war that we're fighting with? Because, folks, if you don't think that we are in a war in this country, you're living under a damn rock. You might as well just dig yourself and crawl back underneath that rock where you came from. Because, folks, this is serious as it comes. These activists, these Black Lives Matter, these Antifa members are nothing but organized crime. That's all they are. It's organized crime at its finest, and we need to stop it because it's taken over our country. It's taken over our inner cities, and we need to stop it. We need law and order back in this country. And if we don't get law and order back in this country, then we don't have a country. I've said it time after time again. And when you have these little sections of the country that are being overturned and basically these rioters, these groups such as Antifa and Black Lives Matter that are taking over these little blocks, these little cities and major cities across this country, and when you have a police department abandon its district, such as Seattle, and then you have the Seattle mayor that just wants to go on social media, go on the press, and make a statement to the president saying, "Oh, by getting military involved to quail out the violent protesters is illegal. He can't do that." Okay, it's illegal. Hey, Miss Mayor of Seattle, what do you think that your protesters and your activists in your city and cities across this country are doing? You don't think that's illegal by taking over a block, nonetheless a city, and renaming it to what they want to name it? Come on, I don't want to hear that shit. I really don't. With that being said, we'll be back more after these words. Don't go anywhere, guys. Hey guys, what's going on? Mike from the show here. I just want to give thanks to all my new listeners. I just noticed that, the show is literally blowing up by proportion. Getting some new followers in on Facebook, some new likes, new subscribers on the on all different types of apps, especially the Anchor app. Seeing some new subscribers from Spotify, which is a big angle and supporter here to the show, the podcast. So I would like to give all my new thanks to all my new listeners out there. Thank you very much. And you can always tune in, usually about an hour. The show is plugged into all major podcast platforms and also on the Facebook page as well. Hey guys, back to the show. We're talking about we're talking about this new thing that's buzzing the headlines. This new these 3 blocks in the Seattle's district, one of the districts there in Seattle, the Pine, over near Pine Street, that district there, where police basically abandoned their district there in Seattle. Just abandoned it. Closed down the shop. The police department just basically just walked off the job. And the district was sitting empty for about a week, and then all of a sudden these activists, whatever you want to call them, activists, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, whatever the hell you want to call them, they're all the same thing to me. They're all the same thing. Oh, they're talking about, they came in here, and if the police don't want to police their district, then we'll just come in and take over it, and we'll have a cop-free zone, and that's that, and we'll use their own barricades to block it in, sort of like how Trump wants to put up a wall around the southern the southern borders of the United States, which he should, okay. Because no nation is a nation without borders. And I'm telling you right now, if these Antifa members and these activists here want to use the same example as Trump, as basically taking over a district, a city block, or whatever, and making it for them own, you can't. No, you don't do that. And then paint across it like it's, we're cleaning up the city and we're wiping off graffiti and it's free and everything is free here. You want to come in here? There's no violence. There's no this and no that. That's great. You want to practice all that? That's great. But you don't have a right to take over a city block. You don't have a right to basically shut down streets and go where you damn well please. You have freedoms in this country, but you don't have freedoms to do that. I'm sorry to say it, but you don't have freedoms to do that. Any of my listeners out there that beg to differ, please leave me a message on my Facebook feed, The Kitchen Angle, and let me know what your comments and concerns are about that subject or topic. Because to be honest with you, I don't believe that anybody has a right to take over a city block, nonetheless a city. I don't think anybody has a right to do that. And like I said, I've been wrong on many things today. Many things today and many things in the past. Okay? But that's a little barbaric when somebody comes in, an activist, a protester, or whatever, and literally just takes over. Yeah. So the new rants of Chop Seattle is very clear, not a peaceful utopia, but maybe it can be. Oh, what's this about, huh? Does anybody care to understand what this is all about? Okay, Chop Seattle is very clearly not a peaceful utopia, but maybe it can be. Well, in this article here, a protester is using a scope on top of a barricade to look for police approaching the newly created Capitol Hill autonomous zone, such as labeled Chaz in Seattle, Washington on June 11th. So this CHOP is not a peaceful social justice utopia where Antifa, anarchists, and community organizers come together for meaningful discussions on policy. Oh, God, they're developing policy now? Oh, boy. It's a cop-free zone of the fringe ideologies, well-intended activists, and tourists looking to be part of something that unfortunately is becoming a something to parody. It's peaceful until it's not. Suggesting otherwise is willful ignorance. Some media outlets spin yarn about CHOP. the Capitol Hill occupying protest. That's what they're calling themselves. They'll have you believe it's a homeland for racial justice, and that businesses simply adore being in the chop zone so they can take part in the activism. Indeed, it's just a street fair or a block party. That's all it is, folks. It's just a street fair or a block party. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, this little street here, this little protest is not going to last very long. It's not going to last very long. I'm telling you what. Activists out there in Seattle, enjoy your little peaceful utopia you got there on the 3 blocks of Seattle's district, because I'm telling you right now, the military are going to get involved. They're going to shut it down. Because what's going on here in America is beyond belief. And I've never seen in my lifetime where a whole damn police department literally abandons their district. I mean, who does that? Well, maybe the police are getting tired of, putting up with these protesters and these Antifa and this Black Lives Matter crap. If I was a police officer, I'd be tired of it too. But you won't see me abandon my damn district. Oh, boy. Oh, man. What can you do? But you know what? But you earn the harassment if you dare disagree with publicity with one of the residents' many fringe beliefs. So that's what they say here. You have no First Amendment rights in the CHOP. So all your First Amendment rights are scrapped off, according to what they're saying here. And the cops aren't entering the area, which makes these tense situations potentially more dangerous. And yes, there's frequent violence. Don't forget, CHOP, then Chaz, was created out of violence. Yeah. So just to clear everything up about this whole CHOP and Chaz, whatever the hell they want to call it. First week they're Chaz, now they're CHOP. Who the hell knows? You can't keep up with these damn activists. They go from one thing to the next. I'm telling you. The dangers of CHOP or Chaz or whatever you want to call it, next week it's going to be something else, doesn't mean you can't inspire it for it to be a utopia. You pretend it is, and being honest about what's happening doesn't betray any cause. It's just honesty, and isn't in the city's best interest, CHOP's best interest, to acknowledge the problem and address it. Or is the fear that the answer to the problem maybe the cops are, in fact, necessary? This is coming from one of the activists. I'm not going to say their names here, but it's coming from one of the activists here that had basically said this in this article here. What I think needs to be done is to get the military involved. Trump has to look at this problem, because there's a lot of misinformation coming around here with this citizens being taken over this 3-block radius here in this district here in Seattle, making it their own utopia, their own country, their own little zone, or whatever the hell they want to call it. It's a bunch of crazies. Everything. History repeats itself. I mean, we've seen this crap in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where people, wanted to peace, love, and joy, and that lasted for, 20, maybe 25, 30 years. And all of a sudden, people got sick of it. They so-called dropped the Kool-Aid, when they walked away. But I mean, this is getting out of control. This Antifa, this Black Lives Matter. I mean, I'm all for the president getting the military involved. He has to get the military involved. This is nuts. Do we have a sound clip here? Meanwhile, some media outlets pretend none of this is happening. Oh boy, no. You won't hear this on CNN, Crooked News Network. You won't hear this on CBS. You won't hear this on all the other fake news platforms out there. I believe Fox News has said it the last couple of days, going into a week. They've been reporting on this on this crap of Chaz or Chop or whatever they want to call themselves, their little country, their little utopia. But you won't hear this on the other fake news platforms. No, they'd rather talk about how bad Donald Trump is becoming and everything else, and he's created nothing but job loss for America and Americans, and oh boy, and this and that, and yeah, that's all they talk about. That's all they talk about. So I mean, we're literally, this goes back to my next one. Seriously, what are we fighting for in this country? Literally, what's the protest about? I mean, what is the protest about? All right, what you just heard was just a quick soundbite there of there. Apparently, these people that are occupying these streets, okay, there was apparently some independent journalists and reporters, independently. That means, they do it on their own spare time. They don't work for a major news network. They're independent journalists or reporters, okay, which a lot of them are basically appearing out of the woodwork today. You got a cell phone, a smart camera. I mean, some of them, some of them have the high tech equipment. Bless their hearts if they can afford that. But apparently, a few independent journalists tried to basically sneak into the zone there to see what was going on. The activists who were there were apparently blocking the videos, so these little independent journalists couldn't film of what was going on. So apparently they don't want us knowing what their agendas are, what this this new plan of theirs are. I'm telling you right now, folks, if this does not get wrapped up, this country is going to be slowly taken over by this thing, these groups. Because, folks, if you don't want to believe it, or you want to pretend it's a nightmare, trust me, I want to pretend it's a nightmare myself too. But, folks, we are in a civil war. And it's not the same civil war that it was once, 200 years ago, a couple hundred years ago, with the North and the South that were fighting for liberties and freedom, and a little bloodshed. That was a different civil war, okay? That was basically the birth of the United States, of what we have today. But seriously, folks, I mean, all that stuff that we fought through, the Civil War, 2 world wars that we won, I mean, seriously, is it kind of worth what's going on today? It would be worth what was going on today if we didn't have this crap in this country. This stuff has to stop. We are in a modern civil war with these people. These activists, these liberals, they want to take over this country. They want to erase the Constitution, and they want to have free utopias around the entire country, the entire nation. And we can't have it, folks. We simply cannot have this crap going on in our country. If you want it, by all means, hey, that's your you have a freedom of thought like that, to express your views. It's protected under the Constitution, and some of this crap that they're doing, they want to erase the Constitution, but they want to hijack the Constitution as if they have a right to practice this. Oh, you want to practice it. Oh, you want to hide behind the Constitution, but then again, yet you want to erase it. You want to erase all the Constitution. You want to erase the freedom of speech, freedom to occupy, but then you want to hijack it to where when people do try to tell you what you're doing wrong, you want to say, oh, I have a right. I have a right to do this stuff. I have a right. Garbage, folks. Right back. The Kitchen Angle Show, an Anchor podcast, a show of meaning, determination, motivation, anything to get through your crazy day life.
You said last week on Seattle that if the mayor of Seattle, the governor of Washington, didn't take steps to end the occupation of the Capitol Hill neighborhood, you would step in and you would do something. They still haven't ended it. They're negotiating. Are you considering taking action?
You know, they're negotiating garbage removal. These people have taken over a vast part, a major part, a very good part of a place called Seattle. Seattle's big stuff. That's a major city. And we have a governor who's a stiff, and we have a mayor who said, oh, this is going to be a love fest. And by the way, these are violent people that took it over. These are not people that are nice people. I saw on your network today, John. I saw what went on with the hitting and the punching and the beating and all the other things going on in Seattle. And you have a governor that doesn't do a damn thing about it. And you have a mayor that doesn't know she's alive. She's talking about it's going to be a love fest this summer. Now, if they don't do the job, I'll do the job. And I've already spoken to the Attorney General about it. But if they don't do the job, we will do the job.
What can you do?
About 10 different things, any one of which will solve the problem quickly.
Can we go through a whole list or partial list?
We don't have to go through any list. We can do a lot of things. I think it's incredible also that the radical left press doesn't cover it. They're acting like nothing happened. You turn on the news, you look at the news, you don't even see stories about it. If the right ever took over a city, conservative Republicans took over a city, it would be the biggest story in history. You can't even find stories about Seattle. It's incredible. They've taken over. We'll see. I tell you what, the American public is very angered by that. Seattle is a major, important city, and the Democrats, I guess you say radical left, but it's not even radical left, it's just Democrat. Where we have our problem are Democrat-run cities. If you look at Minneapolis, if you look at other cities that have had trouble, they're Democrat in virtually every case that I can think of. I can't think of one other case. These are Democrat-run cities. Minneapolis, where the police are told to run for your lives. Don't do anything. And if I didn't get involved and send in the National Guard, and it was at my insistence that they did that, and as soon as I did that, everything stopped in Minneapolis 4 days, 5 days later.
Is there a timeline that you're thinking here of Seattle?
There's no timeline. We're watching it very closely. These are violent people that are dealing violently, and I think what I'd like to see before we do something, I'd like to see the press get in and cover it, because it's not that they're covering it badly, they're hardly covering it all. Think of this. A group, Antifa and others, radical lefts, they went into a major U.S. city, Seattle, and they took over a big percentage of that city, and the press doesn't want to cover it. And we have a mayor who's scared stiff. She doesn't know what's happening. We have a governor that's one of the most overrated politicians in the country. He just ran for president. He got less than 1%. He actually probably, I would have said less than 0, but I'm not sure that's possible. He got nothing. He got no votes, nothing. The whole thing, the guy was out there fighting. At the end, he got 0, right? 0. So he failed. And now he goes back and they take over a city and he doesn't say anything about it. Worse, he said he didn't hear it. A day later, he said, I didn't hear anything about it. They took over a city, Seattle, and he said, I didn't hear anything about it. So look, the governor has to call out the troops, do what he has to do, has to call out the National Guard, has to do something. Because, the problem with what happened in Seattle is it spreads. And all of a sudden they'll say, let's do some other city, and let's do another one. And we're not going to let it happen. So timing-wise, hey, we're all set to go. We're watching the process. But the most amazing thing about the process is how the fake news media doesn't want to cover it. To me, that...
I couldn't agree with it more. You just heard the president commenting his thoughts and concerns of this Chaz chop, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, problem in Seattle. It's a problem. It's a big problem. You just heard it. I was going to get into that too as well with the president, just saying, that the governor and the mayor they're scared stiff. They don't know what the hell to do. Oh, they're practicing their First Amendment rights. You know, they're peaceful protesters. They ain't peaceful protesters when you have a bunch of people that take over a city. You're telling me that's peaceful? What the hell is wrong with this country? Seriously, I feel like I'm in a 20th dimension or something of this world. Seriously, where you have political figures such as mayors, governors, okay, of a state, a mayor of city, the mayor of Seattle, that's scared straight. She doesn't know what the hell to do with these people. It's okay. They're not. Yeah. Go back to your Hollywood, your mansion, and go sip a Mai Tai or something. That's what you people are good for, you know. My God! And then you got the governor. Oh, I didn't hear about it until I didn't hear about it. Yeah, you didn't hear about it because the press didn't say anything about it. Oh, but if you get somebody that gets shot down by the police, whatever, the freaking press is all over it. This is the radicalism that's going on in this country. The radical left of politicians, public figures, actresses, actors. It's all over the place. It's terrible. It's a poison that's been injected into this country. A lethal injection of poison that's been injected into this country, like a syringe or something. You know, it's been just injected. You know, and injected, and it's going. Where is the vaccine for this poison? I'll tell you where the damn vaccine is. It's Donald J. Trump. He's going to be the vaccine. I'm telling you right now, you know, these people, they're taking him, you know, very lightly. Very lightly. This man means business. I'm telling you right now, Trump, he needs to get the damn military involved. You get the National Guard, whatever it takes. He has a right to do that, folks. Insurrection Act of 1807 needs to be presented right now. We need to get it back in this country. We need to take this country back, and we need to have these violators, these so-called peaceful protesters prosecuted. They are committing crime behold your eyes. You're seeing it right there and then on video. You're seeing it. It's terrible. It really is. It's terrible. It's terrible what the radical left is doing to this country. This is not the same Democratic Party of the great JFK. It is not. It's not the same party of every single Democratic president. It's not. What you are seeing is just chaos. It's chaos. And I, for one, as an American patriot, won't stand up for this. What would Franklin Roosevelt, what would Harry Truman, John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, all those presidents, okay? That was the Democratic Party, man. That was with the Democrats. That was a great party. And then all of a sudden, you get this, you get Bill Clinton. Ever since the era of Clintons came around, I think that's when everything started going downhill. And then what after President, you got Bush, he was all right. And then Obama. I'm telling you, folks, this country is going into a meltdown. It really is. The National Guard have to come in and save this country. Every National Guardsman from every state of the 50 states of America have to be involved. Okay, because you are seeing a modern civil war beneath your eyes. It's happening. It really is. When you have activists, and they're not friendly activists, folks, they are very violent, dangerous group of people that will use their bodies if they have to. This is domestic terrorism in your country. This is going on in your backyards of this country, and it needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped now. That being said, folks, thank you for joining into today's show, and we'll see you on the next one. As always, you can always listen to my podcasts on Spotify, Google, Apple, and anywhere you hear a podcast about an hour After the shows are plugged in, they are plugged in right on all major podcast platforms, such as the Facebook social media page, The Kitchen Angle. With that being said, folks, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
You just heard an episode of The Kitchen Angle Show, an Anchor podcast.